Welcome back, everybody, to the LCS Challengers League promotion tournament. We just wrapped up our first series where Team Ambition took a 2-0 over Team Fish Taco, moving on to the next stage where they will play the winner of this next matchup we have in front of us. Mirage Alliance and Winthrop University, two of the top qualifier teams coming in. I'm Grapes, joined alongside Mazel and Beatdown. And gentlemen, let's just get right into this one, starting off with our higher seed coming into this in Mirage Alliance. A lot of players you may recognize here, Mazel, but they are the ones who lost on day one.
They are, and it was a little bit of that miracle sauce over there on the other side that time around. But it is experience that is key with this roster. It is a roster that is so confident in their own ability that they can win. That is why they came together.
And it was surprising to see them lose 0-2 to Lit here, Beatdown, because take a look at how Mirage Alliance have done it throughout the entirety of the summer split. I mean, it's just been absurd.
Hey, let's all just take a second and look at 28-4. Like, that's ridiculous. Throughout these last couple of months, such a positive win record. The assumption going in that, you know, there was an argument about whether you thought TA might make it through, Winthrop might make it through, or something. But there was no question that Mirage Alliance were going to be one of the teams, that would just qualify for NACL Spring next year, especially given their performances in the summer qualifiers. But now they find themselves here at an elimination match so early into the tournament.
Yeah, that third place in the first qualifier, first place though in that second one, because even though they dropped one series of Team Ambition in that first qualifier, they looked like they were really firing on all cylinders, Mazel, which does make it seems a bit surprising that they are in this position right now.
That is the interesting part, is like they had that 28-4 total season record, which is insane. You've got to win when it matters. You've got to show up when it matters. And we've already seen Team Ambition show up when it matters. Now, with their backs against the wall and a must-win situation here for Mirage Alliance, they've got to use all that experience we talk about so much with them.
Yeah, and we know that the players are still super confident. We got the chance to talk to Chad about how he thinks things are going to go here in the promotion tournament. And I mean, let's just say he was very confident about the players that he had behind him.
I mean, unfortunately, I can't even say that we're like the best team. We just have the best players. You know, like our team play is whatever. It's good for the level, but it's not even that we're the best team. We just have the best players individually in every single role. So it's kind of like we get lazy because we don't even have to like focus to play as a team, because when every lane's winning and every lane's gapping their opponents, you're just going to be winning games fundamentally.
Hey, I mean, it worked for them in the qualifiers. Didn't necessarily work for them against Lit, though. It did seem like they were a little cocky sometimes. We'll see if they really hanker down against their opponents today in Winthrop University. Now, when we started the the summer split seeding for the OQs, we actually had Mirage Alliance seeded 1, Winthrop seeded 2nd, so we had really high expectations Beatdown for this team coming in.
I mean, this is, again, like one of the teams you could argue was going to get that second spot when we got towards the end of this tournament here to see who would qualify next year. But Winthrop, still a very solid team in their own right. Really just kind of, they ended up falling to Lit, which is feels bad. I mean, Lit are just on a tear throughout this entire upper bracket. But Winthrop as a team, I've seen a lot of these players before. I'm particularly excited about Mobility, just given how good he had looked, especially in that first match compared to what we saw earlier this year.
Speaking of looking good, though, just real quick, those baseball jerseys looking real fresh.
I do like
I've
those.
got to be on broadcast to say it yet, but my goodness, they're looking swagged out. So
Man.
I love to see it, but also it's the confidence that maybe makes them work.
Yeah, seeing them walk out and seal with the sick jerseys, just very, very cool. And who also played really, really cool yesterday was Mobility, who we got the chance to talk to after they won against Team Ambition. And let's just say he was very ready to promote.
Like I said before, I turned down offers to play in the summer split because I felt like I would like this team better and fit more with this team, and I thought it was kind of a flip on not playing in summer and then trying to play for spring. So it would mean a lot for me, and it would just mean a lot for me. I think it was, like I said, it was kind of like a flip with the staying with this roster, and I think this team would be better in the future than any of the teams that I offered. So yeah.
Just having that confidence. I know I'm going to promote with this team. That's why I didn't turn down some of these other offers, because Winthrop is where it's at, Mazel. And when we take a look at who he has to play against today, it's definitely going to be a tall task because on the other side is, of course, Neo.
I think this matchup is going to be so hot and heavy. We've got two incredibly gifted mechanical ADCs. I think mobility has really come to life, especially here in the qualifiers, even though they are in the bottom bracket here themselves. I grabbed the screenshot of his double kill just because he shouted it out himself on his Twitter. I thought it was really cool anytime we see clips of comms and things like that. But I think confidence with both these rosters is so key. Mirage, knowing they have the hands diff, knowing they have so much experience behind them, but mobility himself showing up when it matters most, showing up in the face of a lot of doubters, it feels like, in the community.
And I like, just to add to that too, I mean, before this tournament, I wasn't that high on him from what we saw when he subbed for Evil Genius Challengers before we were waiting for King in the spring split. And Grapes, I know you could speak to this. Mobility had some words about how you guys weren't really high on him either, and he's really proving everyone wrong so far in this promotion tournament.
I mean, plays like this, that Flash Blade Caller to try to kill Levitate
That
there,
was
that
nasty.
is the difference between what we saw from Levitate earlier in the year to what we're seeing now.
Right, and it's just such a good look to see from a player who, I mean, very confident in himself, very confident in his team, and he's been playing like it. We wanted to see Mobility be a player who really just steps up, very similar to our criticisms of Spawn in the spring split of the Challengers League. So the fact that we've seen this kind of turnaround come through for Mobility, it feels really good as a viewer, and, you know, just a lover of Tier 2 to watch players improve like that, and he's looking good.
Also, man's whipping out the ruler Xayah skin. Gotta love it. But it's also the decisiveness. And we talked a lot about that in our first best of 3. But I think that has been the biggest difference maker for mobility. I do feel like he has had the killer instinct in the past, but the problem is a lot of the positioning, a lot of spacing, and that has come alive at least here in the recent.
Well, his opponent today, definitely somebody that many are familiar with if you are a fan of NA League of Legends as a whole, because Neo's been around for a while, Mazel, and Neo is still a really, really solid AD carry.
He's definitely something that Mirage love to play around, or can play around rather. And it is something where we have a lot of experience on Neo's side, not as much on the side of mobility. And there is that duality in the bot lane. Yes, it's a 2v2, so you have to look at that a little bit more. But Neo, willing to whip out his beautiful Draven, but also willing to play some of these different styles of picks in bot lane, maybe play a little bit more aggressive, but also still show the mechanics in the team fights, but also in the mid to late game.
Yeah, Neo has been just great to watch, especially on this team, but even overall when he came down to TSM Challengers in spring, that team as a whole got better with his addition. And the fact that he is still being able to bring this basically growth to other teams that he is on is a really cool thing as well. Because I watch him here on Mirage Alliance, and he's plays out lane really nicely. He team fights and he positions really nicely as well. I very rarely see him being the one making big errors in these team fights. You know, if it happens, it's usually someone else, which I think is really high praise, especially for an AD carry who's playing at a level like this.
Yeah, also just the flexibility, even as you're saying, Mazel. He's played a lot of Ziggs, even, and that's not necessarily something you see from always like a super highly mechanical AD carry, but being able to do both of them really has put him over the top and helped Mirage Alliance get to this point. But
to a guy who
now,
can do both.
but now they're in a do or die situation. Winthrop and Mirage, they haven't played each other in a best of 3 so far this season. We'll see how it goes the first time they take to the Rift. Draft for game 1 is ready, gentlemen. Take it away.
Well, we're getting into our first meeting between these two teams. I couldn't be more excited when you have elimination on the line. The blood is going to be boiling. We got Mirage Alliance on the blue side, banning away that Ivern already. We have Winthrop on the red side, fitting their color scheme, going for the Poppy ban.
Yeah, so it's really interesting too. We saw the interview clip from Chad and how confident he is in his team and how they're going to be able to make success. But his criticism of his team is something I noticed immediately watching this roster play it out. Very good laners, very good hands. When they fail the hands check, things don't go very well for them overall. And I think that's been a strength for Winthrop overall, playing pretty well together. Honestly, I credit Mobility a lot for how he's playing out these team fights, but I also look at Sword and how he's been playing, especially lately. He's a player who has been really good at setting up some of these engages. When he's playing Ahri, I always see him, Lennon, he's fishing, bro. He's looking for the R charm, the R Everfrost. He's always looking, and he catches some pretty nice fish.
Big ones for sure. We do have the Xayah and the Maokai band over by Mirage. we have the Azir ban and the Kindred ban over towards Chad this time around. First pick of the rel with that flexibility makes it an easy choice.
It's been the theme of this tournament. It's so good jungle. It's so
theme
good
of League of
mid.
Legends at this point.
I'm telling you, bro. She kind of broken. And now, what's Winthrop going to be responding with? I really like that Xayah takeaway, because that's usually my immediate thought when I look at mobility. But instead, it's the instant slam onto that Nautilus Viego. Definitely something we've seen from both these players before. And I'm really curious to see how Winthrop will continue to draft around this Viego.
I love that they just go right out the gate with it. Game plan already set here, as the Nautilus Viego combo can be very strong. You're obviously looking for a pretty strong skirmish heavy composition for the rest of Winthrop, because they want to get the resets for the Viego. But now get the Graves locked in here for Mirage Alliance, so trying to play with a little bit of spice.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. It's definitely viable. It's fine. The crit changes are really nice for him as well. And the Aphelios, nice hyper carry in the hands of Neo, who we were just hyping up in the pregame there, Lennon. So what's that response going to be? Whoa, it's the early Camille for Denethor. You know what? Like, we keep trying to say don't give this guy this champion, and I think I like this one, especially into champions like Aphelios, because your low mobility, as soon as this Camille gets on top of you, like, you might not even have to ult. Just be able to take you out of the fight.
You do wonder now, especially with the way the jungle matchup is starting to look like it's going to be very skirmish heavy. It's going to be Trickster versus Chad, trying to have a little bit of influence earlier on. We do get in the second phase of bans, get the Pantheon ban towards Mirage Alliance.
Maybe
we also,
Nico.
Yeah, maybe get the Nico there. The Zeri is the ban over towards mobility, so giving away, or taking away rather, that team fight potential.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw another attack at Mobility's champion pool there, just to limit what he's able to do. And instead, okay, it's going to be the Urgot. Either way, we're target banning Alorum just to give Denethor the best matchup possible.
The gatekeeper.
Yeah, and it's really important too, like seeing the Ahri ban come through for Winthrop to be able to get these more team fight oriented picks coming through here. Annie is still an option that we've seen Sword go for this tournament. I even like Lissandra paired really well with the Viego, in my opinion, just to be able to get that first reset coming through here. Speaking of resets.
It does feel better to have the Kai'Sa here, especially. I think you have a lot more flexibility in that route, and also giving mobility that killer instinct that we wanted him to have.
That's right.
Now it is looking, though, a final pick will be there for Winthrop. We're looking for the final lock-ins of a very, I feel like, skirmish team fight heavy composition going on here already.
Yeah, 100%. At this point, I'm looking at Mirage's comp. The way they're probably going to round it out is, ooh, I like it.
Let's go.
I really
Zeros
like
across the board as we get Alorum's Shen coming in.
I mean, that's the first time all year I can say that with a lot of confidence there, Lennon, and it works out pretty well just because the big thing I'm looking for, yes, there's the lane matchup into Camille, but it's the ultimate. That Stand United. It's going to make it easier for Mirage to make plays to the side lane and also protect Neo, because that's immediately what I was looking at when I saw the Camille come through. And yup, they paid their respects, but to the wrong champion, I think, because Mirage is 5v5. Oh, it's looking filthy.
It is looking really good. And we already heard Chad talk about the mechanics on this team, right? They feel like they are so heads and above. They are strong. See if they can come together and make it even stronger. Maybe form a little bit of a Megazord or something along those lines. But we got Winthrop on the other side, locking in the Xerath for Sudsy, or for Sword rather, not Sudsy.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a different look from what we've seen the last couple series, but the goal here, I mean, you want to play from range. You have Poke paired with that Kai'Sa. We saw what it could do in the last series we had just watched when it was in Levitate's hands. So that's kind of the goal here. I'm expecting the AP Kai'Sa. I'm expecting Poke kills from range. And then when they've, properly tenderized their opponents, then they're going to go in for the kill, because it really comes down to setting up Trickster for these resets. And as it goes with Viego, we all know the story. It only takes one.
It only takes one. And the fact that we actually get that adaptation here, still a very poke-heavy composition for the side of Winthrop. It's not the Jace, but it is the Xerath. There is that kind of moment where you have a lot of engage, you have a lot of CC. Xerath is not going to have a lot of fun with that, but it comes down to the execution. We were talking so much for both these teams to rise to the occasion on an elimination match in a best of 3 that determines if you are even going to continue your 2023 campaign, or if we will not see you until 2024 qualifiers. Now we do actually get to hear from Denethor talking a little bit about the top lane competition here as well.
Porsche is always performs well, and then Alorum is just a steady player. Mainly those two.
So calling out his competition here, making sure to give respect where respect is due, Beatdown.
Yeah, and I think I agree. I mean, in that last series alone, we saw Porsche perform. Looked pretty good, and Alorum is that kind of stable top laner that we've seen for so long. Since I've seen him here in this tier 2 scene, he's that constant mainstay where you have him on your team and he's able to absorb a lot of pressure. I think that's kind of the respect that is being paid his way. And even now with the Shen, which is a new look so far, this entire tournament, this entire split, whatever you want to call it, Lennon, and it will be interesting to see how that plays out.
I do want to say that we have a lot of Winthrop fans in the chat right now. Kind of like it was a little bit one-sided for Team Ambition in our first series. Here we are with Winthrop showing out, drops out. We now do have Chad starting up on the bottom side. Same side start for Trickster as well. We'll see where this path leads them towards the mid lane or towards top.
Right now, I like that we're seeing that leash come through for Chad. I mean, you're playing with Graves, so that first clear, you're not really looking for much unless there's a really obvious and easy free gank coming through here. The fact that it is going to be that matched clear coming through here from Trickster as well, I'm wondering if we see that potential invade come through onto the top side, because the bot lane showing up late, it gives that information for Winthrop. And pretty easily kind of deduce where Chad is going to be in about a minute's time.
I hear the helicopters are calling. As,
Dude, I love that sound effect.
It's just over and over again.
It's cute.
I love it. It is cute. We actually didn't see any kind of crazy finicky pathing going out for Chad. He will just go for the full clear, same as Trickster. So a little bit longer until we see that skirmishing. I do expect maybe a meetup around that top Scuttle Crab, because both these junglers are very skirmish heavy in their own right. So we'll see who gets priority to kind of help out that skirmish.
Yeah, I mean, we look top side. You don't have mid prio, so it's a little tough, but there is a world where you see Denethor getting the push, getting the pressure, could actually walk down once he gets that wave in to help Trickster secure the grab and maybe go for an invade. But looking at Trickster, it does seem like both junglers are going to be going for that full clear early on. And we talked about a little bit about what these comps want to do, how they want to play. And I think it is really important for the side of Mirage to be able to have these quiet first couple of minutes here, especially for Chad's sake, just because when you have a Graves, it's kind of what he wants. He wants to farm, get that first item, and when he starts feeling good, all right, guys, it's time to group up. Is the map on fire? No? Awesome.
I just want to shout out Chad as well. Right? He did not expect to be playing on this roster, but the call like, hey, do you want to play with me is from Dardock, and ended up being able to join the roster in the offseason, coming through here and really being a force on the team, but also just exuding that confidence that we know Chad for, right? And I think that's always been a big strength for him. And seeing him lean towards his playstyle works so well for them. And it comes off the back of a lot of that experience we've highlighted so much for Mirage Alliance.
And I mean, talking to him in the past, during spring, when he was playing for Immortals Challengers, the thing I heard from him a lot was that he really believed in how he thought about playing the early game. A lot of the time when games don't go his way, sometimes enemy jungle had a better early game plan, but he believes that he's just not executing on it properly.
Oh, they got the execution on bot side for Winthrop, though. Is that Void Seeker going to go a little bit wide, not hitting onto Dardock there? It will be the gank on bottom side, though. Trickster having wrapped around back from that top side clear, and now going for some alcove gameplay as Chad is right here as well.
There is already a ward in that bottom brush, so if Trickster tries to stay...
Oh, Cookies tried to go for it there. Dardock gonna walk into the bush, sees the Trickster still here. Luckily, Chad waited around this whole time. Dardock goes in for the engage there. Trickster burning, but now Chookies left out by his lonesome, and first blood straight to the man himself, Neo.
Really important start here to this game. Good on Chad for halting that second clear, just recognizing like, oh yeah, Trickster could very well still be here. So now, because he knows Trickster stayed, he's gonna make sure that one, he's wasting mobility's time, forcing him to back a little late, and it should mean that Chad will be able to take this respawn drop. It should just be really easy for him. And then he just goes back to farming. A fantastic start from Mirage Alliance.
Gonna be spotted out here.
Trickster.
Mobility and Chucky's head come around this way. They're also bringing Sudsy down here to back up Chad.
Oh,
Won't end
wow.
up getting the Gromp anyways. And Chad just going for that early aggression, trying to put them on the back foot starting out.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate he doesn't get to actually steal that one away, so it just ends up being a waste of time that puts him behind a little bit. But with their bot lane getting the recall off that they did, and the fact that the enemy mobility is going for an actual recall now, he was forced to stay earlier, this is going to be an easy Drake for you. It's Mirage. And the early game is going to keep going in their favor.
We'll see actually them using that strength. Gonna clear that ward there in the bottom side and use Neo and Dardoch to take this one down early on. Again, any stacking advantages is good. You have a lot of the poke from Winthrop, which is going to make those objective fights later on a little bit more difficult to do from range. But as soon as Mirage gets you up close to Bear, you're going down.
Hey, and that's how you beat these compositions where they're focused on range and poke and things like that. So, Sudsy.
Sudsy trying to use the distraction and will end up moving
wow.
out of the way. Denethor's here too. Burns the flash from Sudsy, but that's it.
And I really like that look from Denethor. We see him do that sometimes on this champion. He uses that priority. He moves around the map just to try and see what else he can get. And I'll tell you what he got, a flash from Sudsy, meaning that A, he can do that again in the coming minutes, and B, maybe Trickster can do it.
Oh, there's the Pop Blossom combo, and Sword's going to have to burn his flash. Trickster's coming right around the back side of it, though. Both mid laners without a flash now.
I mean, no cooldowns on Sudsy. This is pretty playable.
Trickster has Heartbreaker. Let's see if he gets a little bit more poke. If Sword lands one more, here comes the Rite of the Arcane, and here comes Sudsy's first death. That is Winthrop responding in kind to Mirage.
A really nice punish coming through here. Chad really doesn't have much of a response. You gotta see the 2.
Ooh, Chookies, maybe left out again. We talked about Nautilus earlier in the day, and Neo will scoop up those kills all day long.
Oh, look who's here!
With that help from the top lane. Tanking up the turret there. Won't end up taking down mobility, but Neo is running away with this one.
That's what we talked about, man. That Stand United, such a big ultimate coming through here, making 2v2s easy, making side lane plays easy, making team fights easy. I have a feeling this champ, no matter the result, is getting insta-ban going into Game 2, Lennon, and we're going to see more value like this from Alora in these next couple of minutes, certainly.
Now see Trickster try to get some influence here. Reset City is always over on the horizon there for Winthrop, but it's still about trying to shut down Neo at this point because he is on the Aphelios. He's got the CS advantage on bottom side. He's racking up the plates, about to get a third one as well. And Rift Herald on the other side of the map already started and almost taken by Chad.
That's just a successful play on both sides here. No one is near Chad. He's going to be able to get that one done, and Alorum was also able to help bot side. So you're getting a lot of gold, a lot of value here for Mirage Alliance, and it's Trickster who is maybe hopefully looking for the response. He's canceling his recall, but he doesn't know they see him.
Oh, they tried to get that engage from Neo with the Moonlight Vigil. Dardoch actually making it out alive without burning the flash there.
Nice.
And unfortunately for Trickster, spent a lot of time down here. One that wasn't able to really get anything. Sudsy playing with the wave. Does end up getting spotted out there. Sword's like, I can count.
Honestly, respect. That's the one thing I can't stand about Nico, where it's like, okay, great. On top of everything else with laning, I have to count minions. Sword, though, he doesn't mind, Lennon.
Quick maths.
Yeah, he's like, I'm great at math. It's fine. I'm going to punish Sudsy for it. So now, even though nothing comes of that, Chad still has a Herald to play for. That's kind of what I'm looking at the moment here. Where is he going to be trying to drop that? You know, as far as Graves go, it's going to be more for him than any of his laners, so it could really be going anywhere, Lennon.
God, I still remember the days where Graves was strong at literally any minute of the game. You could just run all over the map. And it, you know, at this point with the support system that he's got, and with Dardoch on his heels, it's feeling a little bit like back to that nostalgia. Dardoch will end up finding out Trickster. They go all in on this one, and he does have the Heartbreaker, but he gets over the wall too late, and Chad blows him up. And that's Mirage with a 2.5K lead, and now all the chicky nuggies they could ask for.
And this is why you see Chad be so confident about his team and their ability to perform. They are running away with this early game. We're looking at 3,000 in their favor just at the 10-minute mark, and they're stacking gold on big late game carries like Graves, like Aphelios. Winthrop don't really have a leg to stand on right now, as you can just see the total gold coming through here. Again, the people we just mentioned, Neo and Chad at the top of the chart.
Winthrop have to find a way to shut down Neo. They've got to get some focus down here and get something for mobility.
Yeah.
It's going to be a saving grace for them. Denethor will be strong in the side lane, but there's always that response from the top side of the map as well. Let's see if that response does come out anytime soon. We have Dragon, about 30 seconds beat down.
Yeah, and I really like that you called out Denethor there. Like, we could see it here in this graph. He has the most experience at the moment. He's got that bit of a lead over Alora, and we do need to see him kind of step up in the side for Winthrop, as you pointed out. I mean, Camille is a very powerful duelist, and if we look at the two champions that will likely side lane on the side of Mirage, Camille smashes both. So it will be interesting to see, especially if Denethor lanes into Alorum, because he can't use Stand United on himself. It doesn't work.
It does not. And Yanni with the shout out.
He's
Teams
real.
Can't keep giving Denethor his Camille. It's carry time. Well, he's going to need to put those carry pants on, maybe a little quick, as Rift Herald coming for first brick on bottom side. Will end up not giving the Terror Plate gold over, actually getting Chad just a little bit of that. But Dragon is started up preemptively here by Mirage Alliance.
We got a lot of ults to play for. Mirage's comp is really hard to walk into, so I'm pretty sure you just see this. Winthrop University. Now, that's going to be 2 Drakes in a row. Big deal for Mirage as they get closer and closer to that Dragon Soul. Easy win condition for them to play for.
Second Dragon going over to Mirage Alliance there. We did get a Divine Sunder completed for Denethor as he just TP'd back to the lane. See if any strength comes of that first item spike as well, but War Drinker was already there for Chad, and we'll see him continue to clear quickly. Trickster hovering over this top side of the map. They just are looking for something here for Trickster to get involved.
It's tough, because remember, the way this comp is basically going to operate, everything they have is to try and get Trickster that first kill, that first reset. And if that doesn't happen, you're really going to struggle in these team fights as Winthrop. And it's already hard enough because Mirage's 5v5 is very strong. Again, there is that pressure on Denethor on this Camille to be able to really deliver. He has the Divine Sunderer, which is a big spike. The top lane matchup just got that much easier for him. And if Winthrop can make plays to him, that is a way for them to start getting back into this game, because those plays should be good.
And you have to remember, Winthrop, they are trying to be our second collegiate team in an ACL. They still have a long way to go, but it is a goal in their mind. But it's also a team that is playing together in person in their collegiate lab. They have a lot of synergy built up in that fashion, so you can never count out their team play, and you can never count out Denethor on this Camille. It'll still be a bottom side focus for Mirage Alliance, seeing if they can pick anybody out.
Yeah, and that first brick for Neo is such a big deal there. Already 2-0 on the Aphelios. Already a couple waves ahead of Farm. He's just so strong right now, getting closer and closer to that second item. He's already got, actually, you can see it, the BF Sword and the Crit Cloak on top of the Kraken Slayer. Means that he is already in a pretty good position to start skirmishing, and it's just in time for that second Herald.
That timing is of utmost importance as well. You actually see a back coming through quickly from Chookies, but it should be a full focus from Winthrop on this top side of the map. They've lost those 2 dragons. They weren't able to get that Rift Herald. Now is the time where they need to try to get something back on the map for themselves, and starting with Denethor taking a pretty heavy trade beforehand.
Yeah, this lane swap is kind of interesting here. You see Neo and Dardoch move towards this top side. It seems like they get that favorable advantage, so the Aphelios can get the wave in. But the response is there for Winthrop. At this point, there really isn't much that's going to go on. And as the Herald spawns, nobody has really set themselves up for it. Neo's still being in the area, though. It tells me that Mirage really value this Herald. Exactly.
I mean, they have the team fight comp, right? They have the ultimates available. They have everything they could ever ask for. And Denethor didn't have TP, so he's got to be here. You've got to stand at least there with Alorum, rather, and the Rift Herald going down because it is a fact that Winthrop know they can't fight this one.
Yeah, and you can see how low Denethor got just trying to even be part of this Herald contest coming through here. But instead, you got to respond to the push bottom side. You know the Stand United is potentially coming too, so it's just wise of Winthrop to back off. But Mirage, they're running this early game. I mean, look at what they've gotten for themselves. A 4,000 gold lead. They're about to get to their third Drake in about a minute 40's time as you see them recall, shift their focus towards that mid and bot side, and it should be an easy pickup for them if Winthrop cannot get there first.
Now, we did finally see that Trinity Force locked in for Trickster, so some strength in those item spikes finally being there for him. Level 11 did just come up for Chad, so an increased strength in the collateral damage there.
Yeah.
But it is just about the timing, making sure you can get here, right? There are so many options for kind of macro decision-making for Mirage Alliance, Alorum, with that Stand United, but also the TP up and available. They can really play with the tools they have in front of them.
Yeah.
And speaking of those tools, that Rift Herald tool is dropped in mid lane, and that should be an outer tower down.
Yeah, this has been insane map control coming through here. You can see they break this mid tier 1 open. It opens up the map a little bit more. They already have vision towards this bottom river and a bit in Winthrop's jungle, and that's going to be so important here to set up because now Winthrop have to clear it out. Mirage have an opportunity to recall, spend gold if they want to, and then they can go contest this Drake. If we look at components and things like that, we're mostly even. I slightly favor Mirage because Theo is sitting on that BF sword, but it's as you said, Lennon, this is the team fight comp. In that 5v5, it's so tough. What happened?
Denethor has been walking back and forth from top and mid over and over again. He can't decide if he wants to be here and respond with a TP or be in top lane and respond into the team fight with a TP. Looks like he ends up going to respond to Alorum. Alorum backing right now, has TP and Stand United, so he has the pleasure of both worlds, and Mirage Alliance is keeping Winthrop's gaze in mid lane.
And I like what we're seeing from Alorum. He's walking, looks like he's leaning a little more towards that top side as he shifts that position, but now that he's seeing the teleport come through, right, this fight is about to go down.
Denethor getting here preemptively. Oh, they actually get the engage on Dardoch. Mirage are completely split. Sunsy over the wall, though, with the top rope haymaker. Huge stuff from Mirage. It was all a bait all day long. And they take 3 members of Winthrop down.
And really nice target selection coming through there for that Stand United. It's just going to be on Neo the entire game. And now, Denethor.
They gotta try to get the fight.
Surely he's just dead.
Denethor getting drunk down now as well. Sunsy shows right back up, gets it a kill, and Dragon number 3 to Mirage Alliance. They almost got Sword 2, but he had to burn the flash.
Oh, and it is just doom and gloom for the boys at Winthrop at the moment here. This game only gets harder and harder, and I fear we're at the point where it's basically no return. This is the comp for Winthrop's side where you're trying to be at objectives first. And Lennon, I don't know if you know this, it's really hard to do that when you're down 6K.
Dude, the fact that they fight this and Sunsy
I kind of respect it.
with the monster pop blossom over the wall. My God, man.
Yeah, like it is just so crazy the amount of value he got from that ultimate. And the fact that Neo was protected the entire time because of that Stand United, that's a preview of how every 5v5 is going to go and why we keep stressing that now Winthrop only choice is to play to side, play to Denethor, who in isolation, in 1v1, 2v2s, things like that, he's very strong.
He can be, right? And I think that's where you really need to start leaning around. Try to maybe even attack Alorum to some extent, right? Because you can't continuously have those big answers over and over again in this teamfight style composition. That is a heck of a Subway damaged out last teamfight graph as almost 4.5k for Chad there on the Graves, but it's the whole team firing away.
And it's just been looking so good for Mirage in this game 1, and it's important for them to be able to do that step up. We didn't expect them to be here, Lennon. This is a team we thought would just run the winner bracket, but wasn't able to actually make that one happen. So instead, they're just going to be playing spoiler to every team in their way, it looks like. As, again, if they win here, we will say goodbye to Winthrop. The series, the game.
It is a best of 3, a long way to go, but something that we talked so much about showing up when it matters most. And right now, Mirage Alliance are taking full advantage of that. We've heard the confidence. We've heard the words come out from this entire team. It feels like, yes, through a bit of a megaphone in Chad, but it is still the fact that these guys came together for a reason. They came together to win, and they did not expect to find themselves in a position like they are, but they are handling it gracefully and now starting up the Baron.
Yeah, and it's an interesting 2-man Baron coming through here. You can see how strong Neo is with that IE in the inventory, but Winthrop, I mean, they sniffed it out. Mirage don't want to take the risk and end up losing a Baron because that's a big way to swing gold back into Winthrop's favor. So they're going to back up. But keep your eye out. They're going to try that again, man, because you can. And it only gets easier for Neo to two-man this Baron, whoever he pleases.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. He's the damage dealer here.
He is the one.
Yeah.
Alorum and Denethor going at it. That's a big chunk of health from Denethor there. But that second item spike for Neo will actually be pretty big. That IV, they pump a lot of damage there, and you actually see a lot of pings coming out from Mirage Alliance to get some vision around this Baron buff.
And I look at Neo's inventory. He's got that stopwatch coming through as well, looking to make a big play in this next fight potentially. Just because of how far ahead Mirage are, they could be looking to end sooner than later.
See them start up the Baron. They have so much damage here with Neo in tow. Trickster is spotted out. The rest of Winthrop are here. Their poke can do a big difference in the way that Mirage fight this one. They have TP from Denethor, TP and Stand United for Alorum. Nothing gonna come of it here. Mirage decide to back off. There's too many tools available, and Alorum is too low.
Yeah, and it's tough too because Denethor, I mean, you cannot TP, cannot ult in this Camille's sights because it's gonna cancel it. So Mirage once again not looking to push their luck just yet, potentially waiting another minute's time for their Dragon Soul to come through, knowing Winthrop are gonna want to try and deny that. Means there is going to be that alleviation of pressure towards that Baron pit, and that's likely when we're going to see the Baron actually come through.
We did get that Nashor's Tooth completed now for mobility, so he'll have some strength behind him as well. Those two item spikes going to be super crucial for a lot of these mechanical outplays that we can be expecting, but with that Dragon coming up and a soul for Mirage Alliance, you've got to expect that timer is wearing down on Winthrop here. They've got to get a little bit of strength to move into that pit, but use that poke that we said.
Here we go.
So strong, it doesn't matter if you're not around to use the poke. Doubles coming across from Mirage Alliance as both Chad and Neo go on killing sprees, and you know what that means. There's a big purple worm in the sights of Mirage.
It's Baron time for real, Mazel, and this is how you beat those kinds of poke compositions. You get on top of them as quickly as you can, and that success means Mirage will get themselves this Baron, and they'll continue to increase this gold lead even more.
Dragon started up now by Winthrop. They realize they need a response, but Mirage Alliance are on the way, and the Alliance is strong with this one. They go there just a little bit too late as Trickster able to get the Dragon, deny that soul from Mirage Alliance, but it's a tier 2 tower now in their sights.
That's right, Turo Baron buff in hand means Mirage Alliance are going to have an easy time knocking down some of these structures, and even though they lost the Drake, you're just stacking gold into your back pockets, and it means that kind of engage we saw coming through from Sudsy, the damage Mirage were able to get out in such a short amount of time, it only gets faster for them in these next couple of minutes. And again, unless Winthrop are able to get some crazy
Dardoch,
engage into a kill, yeah, that's the only way.
Winthrop realized they're in some trouble. The smoke screen comes down. Dardoch over the wall. Pop Blossom yet again.
Goodbye.
Goes on a killing spree. And Mirage, Mirror on the wall. Who's the chattest of them all? Well, it's Mirage Alliance right now, and they're pushing in the base of Winthrop here in game number 1.
Hey, they could look to close this one out right now, especially if they get the kill.
Through. Neo is unstoppable, and they showed up when it mattered. That confidence reigns key, and Mirage are here to deny Winthrop any more victories in 2023, and they'll start with a game 1 win here in over 12,000 gold lead at under 25 minutes, and they take care of business.
And this is pure, utter domination, Lennon. In this first game coming through, you said it, 25K is an unreal gold lead, especially in such a short amount of time. 12K. I lied to you guys. I apologize.
In 25 minutes.
12K
same
in
Numbers
25 minutes. They are. This is why we can't do math. But it's still an incredible performance coming through from Mirage Alliance to be able to win out at every stage of the early game, every stage of the mid game, and we barely even scratched the surface of late game before that Nexus exploded. They're trying to speed run this game, this series.
Yeah, it was actually incredible. And what else is incredible is that the LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car sharing marketplace where you can book any car you want for just about any occasion. Take some nice photos, you can go on a nice drive, If you just want a cool car for the day, that'd be cool too. Forget about boring car rentals and go to Turo.com. Now we'll be right back with our halftime show and grapes after a dominating Mirage Alliance victory in Game 1.
The LCS Challengers League is brought to you by Turo, the world's largest car-sharing marketplace. Find your drive.
Subway refreshed their ingredients, their menu, and now they're slicing their meats fresh. That's why their new Subway Series subs are preferred by this champ.
And his future champ.
Pros who are talking heads prefer fresh sliced turkey.
And pros who use their heads prefer fresh sliced ham.
More deli meats are preferred by this QB.
And preferred by his old backup QB.
And if we prefer it, we know you'll prefer it too. Is this slice as good as your tennis slice?
I can't answer that, but yes.